Yes. Dr. Mindy in the house. All right.
I appreciate that.
The carnivore diet.
Because of what we eat.
Honestly, you've really touched my heart.
Why does a woman need to think differently about her health than a man? Like, let's go to the basics, because I'm sure you're finding this. So many women have no idea about her hormonal cycle, are so out of touch. We have no idea we're supposed to be doing things differently than men.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually one of the big reasons why I decided to write the book. So I was doing a presentation to these like 7 and 8 figure female entrepreneurs. I was invited to speak. And the topic of the presentation I was giving was how to use your menstrual cycle to make $1 million. So that was like the fun title, right?
I love
it. So these are very successful women, right? These are entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, like CEOs of companies and whatnot. And these women have gone through every, business growth, like any type of training that you can imagine to sort of get a competitive edge. Like these women have, been exposed to in some capacity. And so I gave this presentation. It was supposed to only be 90 minutes. And I was the last, it was only supposed to be like 45 minutes. And I was the last speaker of the evening. And then what ended up happening was this like 2-hour Q&A that followed. Like, what about this? And what about, like, these women had not been exposed to what is a normal menstrual cycle, first of all, versus what is a common symptoms that we experience. And I know that you talk a lot about this, the difference between normal, which is, physiologically normal, supposed to happen with predictability and repeatability, versus commonly occurring in the population, which people often conflate. We often mix up. I get common headaches. I get common pain. I get, we've especially around our menstruation, menstrual cycle pain has really been normalized. And you see this in advertising, right? It's like, just take some Midol, just take some, take a day off. And, while there should be some cramping, right? Like your uterus is contracting, you're shedding an endometrial lining. It shouldn't take you out. Like you should still be able to do absolutely everything that you would do any other day of the month. So that was one of the big, like, okay, these women don't know. That means that like there's a vast majority of women that haven't seen a graph or even explained what their menstrual cycle has been since high school, right? And even then we were probably like putting our hands over our ears going, oh my God, make it stop. So
right.
I think that for women, when I train about how women are different than men, I often will give the parallel that men are like the sun and women are like the moon. So when we think about men, they will go through their entire hormonal milieu in about a 24-hour period. They will cycle through their testosterone and estrogen patterns in about a day. And for women, we will cycle through our testosterone and estrogen and progesterone and LSH and FSH, like all of our patterns, not in a 24-hour period, but in about a 28 or 29 day period. So, and that's what we refer to as your menstrual cycle, right? So it's all very similar to the lunar cycle, right? So the lunar cycle, the moon cycle is about 28, 29 days. And so it's important for us to really distinguish ourselves from men in terms of our daily rhythms, because we are different every single day versus men who are different at different times of every day, but generally they are the same every day of the month. What happens in your bleed week? What's the color of your blood, the flow, do you get cramping? Are there clots? Like what's the color change over, there's so many things that you can start aggregating when you start tracking your cycle. And then you can start overlaying that with nutrition and exercise and sleep.